There's a study that looked at a bunch of MBA students, and they categorized the MBA students into two sectors. One were people who naturally clicked, and the other were just people who knew each other, who were just classmates. And they separated them out, and they put them in little small groups. And they got them to do a couple of tasks. The first was to do a bunch of blocks. They had to arrange them in different ways. Very menial on purpose, very boring. And the second one was they had to evaluate application essays. And what they did is they then compared the application essays to how the admissions committee scored them, to how the quote-unquote professionals did. And what they found was that time and again, the people who clicked had a very different tenor in terms of their interactions. They were actually much more effective. They built more blocks, they built them better, they were more accurate, and they were much better at the admissions application essay. And the researchers found out that there were two elements of difference. The first element was that the clickers would more naturally cheerlead each other. They're more supportive. It was just kind of a more positive environment that they were in. And the second element was that there was actually more conflict with the people who clicked. And this part is completely counterintuitive, right? You think that if someone's clicking, if they're so in love, everything's going to be rosy for the rest of their lives. And this is where the studies really shed a light onto an element of these relationships. A group of researchers from England looked at string quartets. And what they did is they asked the string quartets whether the people naturally clicked with each other. And then what they did is they measured how many recording contracts the quartets had, how much they charged for their concerts, right? Two huge elements, because by the time you were a professional string quartet player, you're on the top of your game. And what they found was that, again, the clicking string quartets had more conflict. And that the conflict actually directly resulted in the string quartets having higher paying gigs, being more successful, getting more recording contracts. And here's why. Let's say you're in a string quartet where you're not natural clickers, but you just, you get along decently. And first violinist decides to play a Beethoven piece in one way, second violinist wants to play it in a different way. So they're professional, they talk about it, and it says, John, I want to play it this way. Well, Eric, I want to play it a different way. That's nice. At the end of the day, what they oftentimes do is they brush the conflict under the rug. And when it's actually performance time, the first and second violins aren't agreeing on an interpretation. With the clicking quartets, what you had is that they actually took conflict head on. They actually went there. And by going there, by having those honest conversations, mixed with that intimacy that they had because they liked each other already, you had a better performing crowd.